Okay, guys, here's the article that I was trying to post. On the afternoon of May 2nd, 2013, Baton Rouge police kicked in the door of 6349 Flag Street, a faded blue shotgun house set atop cinder blocks and surrounded by a chain link fence and scorched glass. The neighborhood, an unincorporated think they meant sliver? Oh, I need to put my glasses on. East of Airline Highway is almost entirely black. 1 in 3 live below the poverty line. There are a couple of churches, a dollar store, and a high school spread among the low-flung homes. 15 narcotics detectives and patrol officers, foot soldiers in America's Sisyphean war on drugs, were looking for a local man who, one informant had assured them, was trafficking crack cocaine and armed with an assault rifle. Police in SWAT gear stormed the house. Neighbors gathered along the fence, blocked by a phalanx of cops. They heard a commotion from inside, then muffled screams, then nothing. Less than 15 minutes after police went inside, paramedics came out with a 32-year-old black man on a stretcher and loaded him into an ambulance. The man's mother looked on from behind the fence, shocked and confused, pacing back and forth as she begged for one of the officers to explain what had just happened. She received no answers. Around 2 a.m., a local television station reported a statement from the Baton Rouge Police Department. A man was in distress after swallowing drugs when detectives arrived to execute the search warrant, and he had died. No foul play is suspected, the sheriff's office said. Yeah, like a murderer saying, I didn't kill anybody. Police did not announce what their raid had yielded from the house that day. 1 marijuana blunt, 2 cell phones, $231 in cash, and 1 small suspected crack cocaine rock. The critical facts about what happened in those 15 minutes were held close by police and would go unexplained for years. The narcotics officers who had answers knew better than to speak about them publicly, but in private conversations at police headquarters, in jokes among those who were in the house, that day had a name: the Flag Street Massacre. Okay. Wait, what is this? Ooh. If you have a story about that or know someone who does, we want to hear from you. The Weeping Prophet from Baton Rouge. Jeremiah Arden is the son of a sheriff's deputy and an oil man. His mother, Annette, wore the badge, and his father, Horace, was a technician inside one of the refineries that rose above Louisiana's bayou with bellowing smokestacks and lights like skyscrapers. They named Jeremiah after the Old Testament weeping prophet who warned that Jerusalem faced destruction because of the sins of Israel's high priests and kings. The prophet is known for having the courage to deliver unwelcome news, even though he was reluctant to do so. Jeremiah grew up in the 80s, Baton Rouge, the deep south capital of Louisiana, on the eastern bank of the Mississippi River. The city is steeped in segregation and tension among the mostly black population and mostly white police force. In the decade before he was born, civil rights demonstrations at Southern University in Baton Rouge turned deadly when police killed 2 unarmed black students afterwards. In 1980, a federal civil rights investigation found the Baton Rouge Police Department was discriminating against black people looking to become cops. The U.S. Department of Justice issued a consent decree to force the department to diversity. Like that's going to help. After Hurricane Katrina hit in 2005, out-of-state troopers who came to help with recovery efforts quickly left the state after witnessing rampant racism and misconduct in Baton Rouge law enforcement. They said officers there harassed black citizens who had fled from New Orleans, wantonly sprayed mace into crowds, went into homes without warrants, and in one case offered to let a visiting trooper beat an inmate as a thank you gift. More recently, in 2016, Baton Rouge police shot and killed Alton Sterling, a black man selling CDs. Protests enveloped the city. Less than 2 weeks later, a gunman ambushed and killed 3 officers, wounding another 3. The fraught relationship between the people and those who police them is as much part of Louisiana's DNA as the oppressive humidity. In such an environment, Jeremiah's parents raised their 3 children to be self-sufficient. Horace taught them how to hunt. Annette taught them to cook. They steered their kids clear of the street by sending them to private elementary and middle schools. In high school, Jeremiah told his mom he wanted to follow in her footsteps and enlist to be a police officer. I've wanted this all my life, he said. Annette quit smoking the day he graduated from the academy in 2008, a bargain she made with God to keep her boys safe on the job. Jeremiah went to work for the Baton Rouge Police Department. The uniform was a tight fit around his barrel chest. His arms are roped with tattoos showing the Freemason symbols, and his 4 children, including a baby girl who died hours after she was born. By 2013, he was 5 years into the job with a house in Baker, a small suburb that borders the northern edge of Baton Rouge. He was making $80,000 a year and started investing in livestock that he butchered and sold to neighbors. Goats, chickens, pigs, and turkeys plowed through mud in his backyard, vying over patches of shade to keep cool. On May 2, 2013, the day his colleagues kicked in the door on Flag Street, Jeremiah was working a detail at Baton Rouge General Medical Center. At 5:21, paramedics rushed the 32-year-old black man they'd pulled from the Blue House through the emergency room doors. Flanked by multiple narcotics officers, the man on the gurney was Don't Runner Robinson. Jeremiah looked down at Robinson and saw a mash of blood and swollen flesh, with an open gash the size of an apple slice above his left eye. His upper body was muddled with bruises, too many to count. Police told doctors that the bedroom door had hit Robinson's face when they kicked it in. In the moment, Jeremiah did what's expected of police in situations like this. Nothing. State records. After the paramedics took her son from Flag Street to the hospital, Casa Robinson Bean left the chain-link fence and drove off to pick up Robinson's 2-year-old, her grandson, from daycare. Casa, a God-fearing woman who calls everyone baby and swallows up near strangers and hugs goodbye, didn't want the boy to be with anyone else. On the way back from the daycare, a family friend called from the hospital. Don't Runner's dead. Casa pulled over and wept until she was out of breath. She climbed into the back seat with her grandson. I just held him for a minute, she recalled. I guess that's the family there. Casa found a frenzy of neighbors, kin, and family friends waiting for her at the hospital. The officers there would not let Casa see her son's body before they sent him to the coroner. It's evidence, they told her. Casa sent her brother-in-law, Lester Ricard, a pastor, to the funeral home to identify the body. If the swelling hadn't gone down by the time he arrived, Ricard said he may well have not recognized his nephew. He spoke with the mortician, who explained how much work it would take to prepare Robinson's face and head for an open casket funeral. The family already went through enough, Ricard replied. The funeral was a closed casket. Casa had only clues about what happened inside the house on Flag Street. Robinson's widow, Alicia, had been in the bedroom. There, Alicia said, 4 officers barged in and pounced on her husband before repeatedly punching him in the face and chest. Where is it? They barked. One officer struck Robinson with the butt of his rifle and dragged him off to the living room, according to Alicia. They turned over furniture, cushions, and drawers throughout the house. There's the blood splatter. Inside the house on Flag Street after the raid. Inside the house. Photographs the family took of the scene afterward show blood smeared on the walls and door jambs and pooled on the tile. Casa and Alicia filed a wrongful death lawsuit in 2014 against the city of Baton Rouge and the officers who raided the house on Flag Street, but the case languished. Their attorney didn't file motions to move the case forward for more than 3 years. In court, Baton Rouge attorneys denied that the officers on the raid did anything wrong. Where have I heard that before? At no time was Don't Runner Robinson beaten, kicked, or abused, they said in one filing. No deadly force was ever utilized. After 3 years, a judge agreed to dismiss the suit after the city argued that family's attorney had abandoned it. It is still officially pending. Wow. Casa and Alicia learned virtually nothing about Robinson's death. They said the East Baton Rouge Sheriff's Office, which concluded an investigation of the incident, and Baton Rouge Police did not release any records to the family or the public. Casa and Alicia hoped to hear from the state attorney general or maybe even the FBI to tell them they were looking into possible civil rights violations, but the calls never came. 8 years later, Casa struggles to understand how other cases of police brutality and in-custody deaths garnered nationwide protests and reform efforts, while she couldn't get basic information about what happened to Robinson. George Floyd was painted on city streets and tweeted by professional athletes, but nobody outside her family in the neighborhood east of Airline Highway seemed to know her son's name. Across Louisiana, mothers and other loved ones seeking answers have been on the wrong side of police secrecy for years. When I visited last summer, word spread through an unofficial network of grieving families and local activists that a reporter was looking into some cases. They hoped an outsider might be able to shake loose new evidence. Tara Snurl said she can't find anyone at the Port Allen Police Department willing to discuss her son's cold case homicide or the bungled investigation that followed in 2017. They won't even tell me who the lead detective is, Snurl said. The department refused to release investigative files. Interesting. Where have I experienced that before? A Port Allen police official emailed that the chief is declining all interviews concerning the case. Brika Peoples, a local activist in Shreveport, said the police department is covering up multiple in-custody deaths and at least one rape in the back of a patrol car. Families are left with little recourse. They don't have anywhere to turn, Peoples said, and no one is held accountable. My God, is this America or not? Where are we living? Are we in Haiti? Is this Honduras or North Korea? Earlier this year, the Associated Press published videos showing Louisiana State Police troopers beating, stunning, and dragging Ronald Green, an unarmed black man, after a car chase in 2019 outside Monroe. I'm sorry, he pleaded, blood splashed on his skin and clothes. I beat the ever-loving F out of him, one officer said in an audio recording. Green stopped breathing soon after. For almost 2 years, troopers lied to Green's mother, Mona, by saying her son had died in a car crash. They had refused to release the videos revealing the truth. Interesting. Kind of noticing a pattern here. We're lost in this evil, she told me recently. The episode and the cover-up that followed were particularly alarming considering the agency's role. When there is an in-custody death or deadly shooting, local Louisiana police departments often rely on the state police to find out what happened and determine whether officers were at fault. Since the Green scandal broke, critics have argued the agency is not equipped to hold itself accountable, let alone others. Carl Cavalier was one of a cohort of troopers inside the state police who worked to leak information about Green's killing. He collected emails and other documents showing the department brass blocked internal investigations when they wanted to arrest one of the troopers responsible. Cavalier went public this summer and sat down for local TV interviews in a suit and bow tie to explain the documents. He has since filed a lawsuit against the department, alleging discrimination and retaliation. Well, I'm going to just stop there. It just goes on and on. You kind of get the point. But that was a story that I posted. I guess it wasn't letting people read it. I don't know why it's open. When I got it, it was like an AOL link when I saw it. So there it is.